Ahoy everyone! Do you enjoy smuggling, illegally dumping toxic waste onto unsuspecting passenger ships? Be rewarded with a Grandmaster title for it. Then this guide's for you. This is a guide to Dax, the contraband runner. But what does he do, you ask stupidly? He smuggles acid from your ship onto the enemy, and the more freight you carry, the more speed and acid you gain, which in turn you can throw at the opponent with the first ability. So one of his strengths is that he has access to cargo, and with his cargo you get infinite scaling, speed, healing, weapon damage, crew upgrades, etc. You can also reduce the cooldown of items from the get-go with your conveyor belt and smokestack. And due to his starting items and captain's abilities, he's simply strong with and against acid. The only weakness in his kit is his access to damage. You'll mostly be working with debuffs. Now let's take a look at some of Dax's key items. The centerpiece of my build and one of the strongest items in the game right now is the Toxic Barrel. It has no resource cost and afflicts radiation as well as acid. If you get 2 or so upgrades on this and lower its cooldown, this is all the damage you'll ever need. Radiation absolutely wrecks every opponent and there's very little counterplay. The best way to charge up your high impact items are factory tubes. As soon as you have a damage solution, you're going to connect them to these bad boys, which improve their efficiency by magnitudes. They also give you some fuel which adds up and you'll often need. For example, with sewer tubes. If you can't find toxic barrels, these are a great alternative. The optimal setup for these, by the way, is 5 crew members and 3 tubes. Upgrade them and combine them with a waste factory and a waste pump, and your enemies will drown and burn in a beautiful factory mishap.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing!
The ventilation system is the goat of auxiliary items, not only protecting you from enemy debuffs, but also enabling you to buy items such as uranium plate and abominations, which usually have the downside of putting radiation on yourself, but with this you turn their drawbacks into incredible strengths. If you can't find enough damage items, a combination of these alone can be enough to beat most opponents. An honorable mention goes out to these 2 cargo items. Repair can stack up to insane sustain, and warp crystals can allow you to cloak for entire battles. Now before we jump into a game, let's briefly address unique items. Waste Pump is amazing. It pairs well with everything Dax is already good at and gives you a strong edge with healing capsules and sometimes acid capsules. The Titan Core is also S tier. Especially if you already have a damage solution, the only thing you'll have to do is tank up, and this is probably the best tank item in the game. Pairs well with cargo as well. The Network Breacher is good when you're entering the round 3 shop and you need some sort of damage. You can connect it to tubes and upgrade it for a whole lot of damage. Just be wary that it falls off and you should probably pivot to something else later. The Reactor Core Fragment is a poor man's toxic barrel, but if you happen to have an upgrade kit in your inventory and you see this, you can tube it up and it'll do a lot of work. Also, when upgraded, you can buy a ton of mutated crew who will make a difference, but it's very situational and you might be better off buying nothing instead. Same goes for the hoverboard. If you have an abomination, you can upgrade it and let it kickflip waves of radiation onto the enemy ship. Just make sure you have a couple of ventilation systems. Otherwise, if you don't have an A-bomb, it's pretty useless. The cargo pallet can be alright if you have a lot of empty hull and you can accommodate it, but space is not always a luxury you have. Leica, the goodest girl, is mostly underwhelming compared to the healing of repair. But if you happen to have a couple of sewer mutants which activate twice, she can be decent, maybe, on sale. Everything else goes straight in the bin. Any advantage any of these have are completely outweighed by them diluting your shop. Every time you see one of the items from other factions or gems, it takes away a choice you have for highly synergetic items from your own faction. The trinkets I use for my build are the mysterious magnet, which make common items appear 50% less frequently in the shop, which means that the rare items we really want, like toxic barrels, sewer tubes and all that good stuff, appear more often. So that gives us more consistency with our build. And to leverage that even further, we're gonna get the D20 so we can re-roll the shop more often. Because we are going to reroll quite often, especially later in the game. And last but not least, we have a defensive item, the emergency thruster, which gives you 6 speed when your health falls below 20%. In case you don't know, if you reach 10 speed, you cloak, and that means you ignore all kinds of incoming damage, all kinds of projectiles. There's also something to be said for the power rerouter, which upgrades an item. So if you find something good, you can immediately upgrade it. But I found that I need more consistency and don't want to get unlucky. And if emergency thruster ever gets nerfed, maybe you need another defensive items like blood bag, but then you also have to get a lot of crew. But of course, everything I've said is just my opinion. It's bound to the current patch, and I implore you to experiment. The game is young, there's lots of combinations to explore, and there are always better things to be found. That being said, let's jump right into it. I'm gonna hope to find a run that goes really well and one where I'm struggling, so you can see both sides of the coin. Here we go. So the first thing we want to look for is something that helps us get to 4 speed, because we want the emergency thruster to be able to cloak us. But also we need to tank. So we're just going to take this flight deck. So that's one problem already solved. And then we're also taking a hull piece, which leaves us with 9 gold. This would be nice, but we have 2 more shops to go through. So maybe we get something better. Here we go. This is the power of the mysterious magnet. We get a toxic barrel in the first shop. That's crazy. Cargo is nice, but this one is very situational. I would love to have this, but it's not worth reserving, because, you know, if I reserve this for next round, I am taking away the chance of finding something better, like a toxic barrel. Usually, the problem with this is I'm only really getting value, not even next round, but the one after that when I get the repair from this item. So we're gonna leave this. I'm pretty sure this should be enough to beat most opponents. Round 1 is pretty easy in general. I bet you could buy nothing on Dax in round 1 and still win sometimes. Now, I would love to have uranium plate, but without ventilation system, nah. Stainless steel hull, not that useful for us because we don't really need acid resistance and nobody throws rust at us in this meta at the moment. There's an argument to be made for a chemical tank, but since we have toxic barrel, I would rather find factory tubes or something. Haha. Okay. This is pretty good. Normally, I would be taking these sewer tubes, but actually, at the moment, we don't want that. We want to rely fully on... the toxic barrel. If we get too many different debuffs, we might actually be hurting ourselves. Because, for example, Affliction Crystal has more ammo against us if we put 3 different kinds of debuffs on the enemy. I'm just gonna take this to speed up the toxic barrel as well. Pretty easy so far. Okay, now in my tier list I set Network Breacher is A tier, and this is, I think I put it in C tier, But in this case, we already have a toxic barrel. We already have a little bit of damage and radiation. So I want to leverage that further with the reactor core fragment. We could speed this up a little bit more. We're getting unlucky in the sense that we're not getting factory tubes. I really want some hull. This is not my favorite piece of hull, but let's just try to tank up as much as possible. Now we're pretty weak this round. Hope that it's enough. I think the ventilation system will put us over the edge. See, this enemy had affliction crystal. If we had applied burn and more acid, they might have actually killed us. So pairing sewer tubes with toxic barrel is often not a good idea. Same with waste factory. We don't actually want this. It is an epic item. It multiplies debuffs and it would multiply radiation, but actually it's very expensive, and I'd much rather have something like this. Tank up further. I love this hull piece item. Just getting repair is so worth it. More tubes, here we go. If we could get just one more barrel upgrade, we're probably set for this game. Having a singular sewer mutant is nice for the acid life link and stuff, but I'd actually rather tank up more, yeah. Could also do with some speed. Some enemies can take away speed from you. I should have put the reactor core fragment up here or something. Oh, this is looking bad. It's just enough. Look at Mortis with his big reactor laser. It's crazy. Okay, now this is the part where we get really strong. Just one upgrade on this. By the way, this is better than this. We want to speed up the ventilation system even more. 2 smokestacks is usually better than the conveyor belt, and also the reactor core fragment has a 9-second cooldown, and this has a 3-second cooldown. So charging the connected items by 10% is more valuable on the reactor core fragment. I'll take this. Just for the speed alone, it's pretty good. I really like the lead hull. I think it's Melostaff who convinced me that having... No, it was Selenium. Having a single piece of lead hull really increases your win rate. Yeah, let's get more of these. This is a point where we could already sell our group blaster, because most of our acid damage is already coming from the factory tube. Now this fight might have looked close, but if it's really close, we can see, if we go back to the main menu, go at the history, see our current run, and see how many fights we actually won. 9-2. 10-1, 6-5, that was a close one, 9-2, 8-3. So not actually that close. Another ventilation system would be nice. Now we can take uranium plates. Those do a lot for us. Just having extra plating, like 30 armor, 1 plating, and 1 radiation that we're throwing at the enemy, 20% stun resistance. This item is insane. We will buy every one of these that we can with 2 ventilation systems. Let's get another one for these. And let's get some more tubes. Everything we do now is just upgrading the toxic barrel and upgrading tubes. Another affliction crystal. In case you don't know, I keep talking about it. It deals damage to the enemy ship equal to the total number of debuffs on your ship. So the more debuffs you inflict, the more damage you take back. A warp crystal. We'll just be taking this, go up to speed 9, and then we can sell it again. Because the higher the speed, the more we dodge. Alright, so we got the toxic barrel once upgraded and connected to all kinds of tubes. Unless we get unlucky, this should be enough for the next couple rounds, but we really want to upgrade this. And other than that, we just want to tank up. This is a tank item, technically. Abomination. Nice. So, usually they put one radiation on both ships, but since we throw our radiation at the enemy ship with a ventilation system, we essentially get double value. It essentially puts 2 radiation on the enemy ship. That's how we can think about it. I really want to get rid of this goo blaster, to be honest. We can actually right now. So normally I would reserve this, but we had a quite high elo and I want it now just to make sure I win the next round. So I can sell a cockpit, we're passively gaining speed anyway. Another affliction crystal. This is why it's so important not to stack too many different debuffs on the enemy. We have a decent amount of healing. That means we get some value out of drainage pipes. Also, it costs fuel, and we're not actually doing anything with our fuel at the moment. It's not super high value, but it's an insurance. If the run happens to go longer, we get more and more value out of this because our repair is going to stack up. We have 3 of those nanobot serums. And we can afford to just invest in an insurance. We're strong enough. And this guy, for example, I'll take. It pairs really nice with it. Now we get an extra 15% to all health restore. Oh, I was going to look at the repair values. I'll do that next round, if I don't forget. Get another A-bomb in there. I'm re-rolling down to 3 gold because I know a factory tube usually costs 3. Look at how fast we killed him. That's crazy. He only got 1 barrage off. Now let's look at the healing. 114 healing out of repair. That's crazy. How much did every single tick do? 19. So usually we would be healing for 13, but with the extra healing buffs we get 19. It's pretty good. Alright, now this run is over. We can buy whatever we want now. By the way, pull apart crew members. This was a mistake. If the enemy throws grenades, they can kill 2 people at once, and we don't want that. Keep an eye on your speed. We don't want to go above 10. I really want this. Alright, fully upgraded toxic barrel. Crazy. This is worth reserving. Do we do enough acid damage to benefit from discharge fluid? Probably not. Look at that, they even did have detonator rounds. It doesn't really matter because we kill them so fast, but it's a good habit to not have crew members next to each other. 7% debuff resistance, not that much. This run is super over. There's no way in hell we can lose this. I sold my warp crystal because there's no way we lose this. Especially if I sell it and buy another tube for it. Another affliction crystal. Look at this. It would have killed us if we had sewer tubes. Bam. That's so much damage, dude. So now that we had a perfect run, let's hope that we can get a more difficult one. Alright, again, we want to get to speed. A warp crystal in the first shop is excellent for that because it guarantees at the latest next round we're gonna have 4 speed. Tubes are not really worth buying at the moment. I could buy this. This is pretty good because it costs 3, it sells for 2. And we're guaranteed to cloak in the next round. A sewer mutant is pretty valuable at the moment for at the beginning for early damage, and that should have us set for this combat. We're facing hacking, but I think we should still win. Yeah, pretty close. I've never been this high elo before on this captain, so this is pretty new to me as well. We can sell the iron dive now. We don't really need it. I like getting A-bombs early because I tend to tank up in the beginning anyway, so I have a good chance if both ships get equal amounts of radiation. Yeah, let's invest in some long-term healing, and since we're not really getting anything great, let's tank up more. I'm actually gonna reserve this lead hull piece. The obstack and lead hull is probably the only thing I would ever reserve. This is gonna be a tough one. Oh god.
Just do one thing for me. Get
Mac Fighter.
Okay, good. So this isn't going to be as easy. Ah, we got a waste pump. That is really nice for us. Waste pump costs quite a bit of fuel, 2 fuel every 5 seconds or 6 seconds. And our goo blast also costs fuel. So we need to make sure we can actually cover that. The fuel pump is really nice to speed up the waste pump and also provide some fuel. I really would like this and this. Ooh, these are some crazy items, to be honest. That's gonna cost everything in the next shop, but this is a good combination. Fuel cost is gonna be an issue, but luckily we got some fuel wings, so we're already at 19 fuel. Alright, we got a bit lucky here. Now, the sewer tubes usually need you to have a lot of crew, but the waste factory also applies a lot of acid at the beginning of the round, which with the sewer tubes translates into burn damage. So I think we will get immediate value out of this. The question is, how do we connect all of this? Alright, this is the best I got. We are at 11 speed. That is too much. We will cloak and be left with 1 speed at the point that the enemy actually does something to us. So we're gonna just sell this cockpit, and that allows us to get a chemical tank, which gives us much needed fuel and inflicts acid on the enemy ship. Very synergetic. It might be better to sell the goo blaster at this point, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep it for now. I think it still applies a decent amount of acid, but look at this fuel cost, it's crazy. We are relying on killing the enemy fast. And that's gonna be difficult with the second best DAX and lots of vitality capsules. I don't think we'll win this. Oh, we actually do. That's crazy. He's doing the exact same build as us. Alright, we can take this to get to our max speed without gaining another weight. And now we're looking for tubes and crew members and any kind of thing that helps us speed up the sewer tube. We can sell the warp crystals. It might be worth going to 19, 29, 39 speed, but we are kind of struggling right now, and so we need any advantage we can get right now. We're gonna turn this chemist into a sewer mutant, because chemists are good when the fight takes a long time, but we aim to finish the fight quickly. This time the discharge fluid could be pretty good, because we aim to inflict a lot of acid damage. Yeah, tricky. Could buy a smokestack, but I think we're getting diminishing values. What I really need is tubes and an upgrade for the sewer tube. If we happen to find a toxic barrel, we will just pivot into it probably. Alright, let's get this discount. We're getting so many fuel pumps, but We don't actually need more of these right now. Yeah, there's no place for it. Upgrade kit. We're not gonna upgrade it straight away because we're gonna look at a few more shops. Healing will be nice. Okay, so we will be upgrading the sewer tube. I am actually gonna reserve this tube because we really need it. If we found an acid capsule, I would feel much better about this build. By the way, it might be better to connect the waste factory to the conveyor belt instead of what I'm doing here. But it's hard to tell. Also, I'm a bit too lazy to change everything up right now. Okay, we need hull, but I don't want this. I want a fuel wing optimally. These steel hulls, they cost 7. They're nice and square, but they don't do anything special, which is bad. Buying A-bombs would help us pivot into radiation later, and we can use them on the conveyor belt. This is tough. We're facing radiation. Burn builds are typically faster than them, so we did have an edge there. Ooh, we don't really have room for another ventilation system right now. I would love to take this. Do we need this? Again, not a lot of room. I think tanking up could be nice. How much healing did we do last round? 54 and 60. The problem is this costs fuel, so we can't really take it. Oh yeah, we're getting unlucky. This is great. Exactly what we wanted. Okay, we're gonna need more hull in any case. Alright, this seems like the best we can do right now. Barely enough. Alright, there's an argument to be made for the transporter pad because it would immediately give us +6 electricity. We don't actually care about the extra crew that we would get. But I think we need to amplify our damage somehow. I mean... yeah. Ventilation systems are just too good to be to pass up most of the time. Could could upgrade an A-bomb, but it really doesn't do anything for us right now. We are gonna fall off really hard. We could start losing every round any second now. Okay, let's upgrade the sewer tube once more. Ideally, we would want it fully upgraded at this point. Or have acid capsules. We're getting pretty unlucky, which is good. Luckily, we didn't face Affliction Crystal there. Now we're at 3 weight. I don't really want to put more on it. This is all garbage. Complete garbage. They really want me to buy instruction manuals. I could have a fully upgraded A-bomb by now. This is worth buying. There we go. So every reroll now costs 2, which is risky. So we're just gonna buy the hardened plate, which doesn't give us much health anymore, but the stun chance on enemy weapons is pretty good. The 2 plating is good. We don't have a lot of fuel. It's gonna be tricky. Alright, barely scraped by again. Like I said earlier, 3 tubes and 5 crew members is the optimal setup for this. So we're gonna stick to that. Put every sewer mutant we can in the front, so their projectiles don't have to fly as far. Upgrade the tubes. Let's hope for some high impact items here. Last round, potentially, and we get the toxic barrel. It's tricky. I think I'm going to reserve it because we have so many chances and we might have to pivot. Oh look, they're doing the same thing as us, plus hacking. This is going to be rough. Phew. Our healing capsules put us over the edge. Nice. Alright. Hey, you're still here. If you've made it this far, I would love to know if this helped, if you have any questions, and what kind of content you would like to see. See you next time, friendos!